Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a little cloud who couldn't rain. Now this was very sad for the little cloud, because all the big clouds could do it. They would go around making rain, making the plants grow, and making the world happy. But all he could make was mist. It was a beautiful day in the sky. Puff was floating along with his best friend, Windy the Wind. Below them, birds were tweeting, flowers were blooming, and children were playing. It was a perfect day to make some rain. The other clouds gathered together, and one by one, they began to make it rain. Puff wanted to join them, but all that came out of him was mist. "Oh dear," said Windy, swirling around Puff. "Why can't you make rain like the others?" Puff sighed. "I don't know. I wish I could help make the flowers grow and make the world happy." Windy nudged him with her wing. "Don't be silly, Puff. You may not make rain, but you make the most beautiful mist in the whole wide sky. Look how sparkly it is." Puff looked down at his reflection in the lake below. Sure, his mist sparkled, but all the other clouds were making rain, and that's what he wanted to do. Puff drifted away from the other clouds, and soon he was all alone. He felt so sad that he couldn't do what the other clouds did. He wanted to be big and strong and make rain. Just then, an idea popped into his head. Maybe if he went to see the biggest cloud in the sky, he could ask her for help. So off he floated. It wasn't long before he saw her. Mama Cloud was huge, bigger than any cloud Puff had ever seen. She was also very busy. She had baby clouds clinging to her, and she was making rain for an entire field of sunflowers. "Excuse me, Mama Cloud," said Puff. "Could you help me? I want to make rain." Mama Cloud stopped for a moment and looked at him. "Oh, little one, you can't make rain. You are too small." Then she went back to work. Puff felt even worse now. He wasn't just too small, he was too fluffy. All the other clouds were big and dark, but he was light and airy. He wanted to be like them. Puff turned around and headed back home. He didn't want to make anyone else feel bad, so he didn't tell them where he was going. As he floated through the sky, he saw all sorts of clouds. Some were shaped like animals, some were shaped like ships, and some even looked like castles. Puff wished he could make something like that. Then he saw it, the most beautiful cloud he had ever seen. It was big and white and fluffy, and shaped like a giant ice cream cone. And guess what? It was raining sprinkles. "Wow," said Puff. "I wish I could do that." Suddenly, he heard a voice. Who said that? Puff looked around. "Who's there?" A giggle echoed through the sky. "Up here." Puff looked up, and there she was. She was a beautiful cloud with rosy pink cheeks and a big bright smile. "Hi, I'm Flossie Cloud. Do you want to play with me?" "I'd love to," said Puff. "But I can't. I'm not good at making rain like you." Flossie tilted her head. "You want to make rain? Why not try making something else?" Puff thought for a moment. What else could he make? "I could make mist, I guess." "Mist," Flossie repeated. "That sounds fun. Let's try it." Flossie took a deep breath and made a big white circle in the sky. Then she smiled and whispered, "Sprinkles." As she did, hundreds of colorful sprinkles rained down from the sky. Puff wanted to do the same thing, but when he took a deep breath, all that came out of him was more sprinkles. "Oh no," he cried. "I can't make your kind of rain, let alone sprinkles." Flossie put a hand on his shoulder. "Maybe you can make a different kind of rain, one that only you can make." Puff looked at her in surprise. "What do you mean?" Flossie pointed to the field of sunflowers. "Look." Puff followed her finger and saw that while the other clouds were making big drops of water, his mist was making tiny ones. His little drops were barely bigger than dewdrops. Just then, a little girl came skipping through the field. She stopped to look up at the sky and smiled. "It's sprinkling," she said. She closed her eyes and tilted her face up to catch the drops on her tongue. This is the best kind of rain. Puff and Flossie looked at each other. He didn't have to make big drops of water like the other clouds. He could make little ones instead. And they weren't just any little drops. They were magical. They sparkled, and they made flowers grow. And they tasted sweet like honey. A little boy ran into the field and twirled around in the sparkling mist. The girl and the boy laughed and played until the sun began to set. As the sky grew dark, Puff knew it was time to go. "Thank you for showing me how to make my kind of rain," he told Flossie, "and thank you for being my friend." Flossie smiled. "Anytime, Puff." Back home, the other clouds were gathered together, and they were all talking about how much rain they had made. Puff wanted to tell them about his special kind of rain, but he was afraid they wouldn't understand. But then he remembered what Flossie had told him. He didn't have to be like the other clouds. He could be himself. So he started to tell them, "I may not make rain like you," he said, "but I make the best little drops. And they sparkle and make flowers grow. And they taste sweet like honey." The other clouds looked at him in surprise. "Really?" they said. "Let's go see." Soon they were all floating over the field of sunflowers. They watched as the little drops fell from the sky and sparkled on the ground. They smelled the sweet honey scent and tasted the delicious drops on their tongues. "Wow," they said. "We didn't know you could do that, Puff." Puff smiled. He didn't have to be like the other clouds. He was perfect just the way he was. He may not have made big drops of rain, but he had made something even better. He had made a friend. From that day on, Puff and Flossie were best friends. They loved to float around the sky together and make their special kind of rain. And whenever the other clouds wanted to make something different, they asked Puff and Flossie for help. Together, they made the sky a more beautiful place. One day, after a long dry spell, the clouds were very worried. The plants were wilting, and the people were sad. "We have to make some rain," said Puff. "But we haven't done that before." Flossie took a deep breath and made a big white circle in the sky. Then she smiled and whispered, "Rain!" As she did, big fat raindrops began to fall from the sky. The plants perked up, and the people cheered. "We did it," said Flossie. "We made rain." Just then, a rainbow appeared in the sky. It was the most beautiful rainbow Puff and Flossie had ever seen. At its end, they could just make out the figure of a man. He had rosy pink cheeks and a big bright smile. "Come on, Puff," he called. "We have to go see the sun." Hand in hand, Puff and Flossie raced across the sky to where the sun was shining. When they got there, the man introduced himself. "I am the bringer of rainbows," he said, "and you two have earned this rainbow for helping make the world a better place." Puff and Flossie looked at each other in surprise. "We did it," they said. "We brought the rainbow." From that day on, whenever the world needed help, Puff and Flossie were there to help. They made rain, they made rainbows, and they made each other laugh. After all, they were best friends forever. The end.